There is a time for many words, and there's also a time for sleep. Homer. Hey guys, welcome to Creativism, applying creativity to every aspect of life. I'm Josh the Creative, and this show takes a look at my past successes, mistakes, and all the things that I've learned from my own experience or the experience of others. This show is about creating better habits, changing your mindset or your job, and nurturing your creativity. So whether you work for yourself or you work for somebody else, this is the podcast for you. And today, the cup of coffee that I had was actually something a little bit different. I got this whey protein shake mix that had like 2 shots of espresso with some sweet cream. My then fiance and now wife gave it to me, and then we like split up the actual mix. So I had it, poured it over ice, and I have to admit, it was actually pretty good. It was nice and sweet and full of protein, but definitely not an everyday beverage. I usually don't have that much espresso, so just splitting that in half was enough for me for the day. So in today's topic, what we're talking about is, this is kind of sharing something that I've learned in my past experience, and it's about what I don't do before going to bed. So if you ever had troubles going to sleep because your mind was still very active and awake, you had some problem on your mind that you weren't quite able to escape from, or your brain is just way too active to calm down, and ultimately it takes you too long to get to sleep, then you may want to consider some of the habits that revolve around your night before bed. This excludes people with insomnia, since there are other factors entirely that play into that issue, and I'm not an expert, so I'm not going to touch on that. However, sleep is very important to your mental functionality, productivity, and creativity. And sleep is just nice. So let's take a look at what I don't do, or at least what I try to avoid doing before hitting the hay. So the first thing I don't do is check social media, because it keeps me thinking about what others are doing. I'm focusing less on myself and more on what's going on in others' lives. It also feeds into that dopamine kick, the anticipation of what kind of notifications or responses to my content that I may be able to see. And it gets harder to wind down to actually go to sleep. And as a side note, this also plays into the screen time I try to avoid. Looking at a screen without a blue filter. You may have heard of this in the past year or so, but that contributes to the difficulty of going to sleep. So even if I have my phone, I always have it on a blue light filter just to kind of make it easier on the eyes. So another thing that I don't do is check emails. Emails, especially if it's from work or my film business, would definitely keep me up, wondering how to approach a potential problem or what to deal with the very next day. It feels similar to getting a package from Amazon, right before going to bed. And you get that really excited feeling of just the mystery of what's in that box that you ordered. But that excitability contradicts your need to calm down and go to sleep, similar to the notification problem we mentioned earlier. So I try to avoid those things that would increase the dopamine kick, that sense of anticipation. I don't want to anticipate. I want to just wind down, mellow out, and knock out. So a third thing that I don't do, and this one's very difficult for me to avoid doing, is eat too late. It never really feels good to eat super late at night. And on top of that, eat right before going to sleep. For me, I tend to get bad dreams. Dreams just go bonkers crazy. And it's kind of weird trying to sleep when my stomach is digesting still. So this was a problem I dealt with when I worked as a dishwasher back in Birmingham. I would get home at 12 or 1 in the morning, average, and I would eat about 2 o'clock and then go to sleep right afterwards. And I really have to say, like, it messes with my daily eating schedule, like, big time. So when I initially wrote this script, which was a good while ago, I was in a much better work shift. But now I'm back to a late night shift and find myself snacking right before getting ready for bed. And then I go to bed even later than before. So I'm saying that because I understand there's some situations you really can't avoid eating late. But it's something that once I had a job for a period of time that allowed me to not, go to bed at 1 in the morning. I can go to bed at maybe 10. I at least had the opportunity to eat sooner in the day so that I can just go to bed at least a couple of hours before, or at least a couple of hours after eating. So those are some of the things that I don't do. But I also have a list of things that I actually do, things that I intend to do before going to bed. So the first thing that I do is I pretty much block out an hour before going to sleep to actually get ready for bed. What I like about doing this is, I get to set an alarm an hour before that helps me know when I should stop doing whatever I'm doing and pretty much start my nightly routine, which would involve the second thing on the list is journaling about my day, whatever issues, whatever blessings or other thoughts that I have on mind. This helps me to kind of get my thoughts out of my head and onto paper. I want to be able to sleep with an uncluttered mind. And this is something that we've talked about in the previous episode. Writing things out, getting it on paper so that it's not like tumbling in your head over and over throughout the night, causing you issues with sleeping, issues with winding down. There are some of these things that are really kind of that tie into each other, right? And one of the bigger things is things that are on your mind that are keeping you from being able to wind down, that would then keep you from going to sleep. So I really love to be able to journal my thoughts out so that whatever's in my mind that's been moving back and forth, haven't really processed whatever, I at least have that opportunity within that hour before going to bed to actually write that out. A third thing that I like to do, sometimes I like to listen to peaceful music and meditate. And when I say meditate in this sense, really all I'm doing is just focusing on my breathing. I'll pop in my headphones. There is this artist that I found on SoundCloud. I wish I knew the name of this artist. I feel like I should because I listen to him from time to time, and he has this is awesome peaceful music I listen to. I have a playlist of all his stuff, and I'll just listen to maybe a song or two, and I'm just sitting there just breathing very slowly so I can kind of calm my body down, slow my heart rate down, and kind of ease into a sort of lulled state. So nowadays, I do more reading a book before I go to sleep. This is sort of the alternative to listening to peaceful music. This also helps my mind to calm down from all the hubbub of the day. It may help for you to find a book that you're probably not interested in, something that seems boring. There's a book that I have that I've had it in college, kind of read through it, and I literally used that to bore me to sleep. And it's so boring, let me tell you, it's so boring that in the past 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks that I've had it before going to bed, I have not gotten past the introduction. And one of the last things that I do, and this is something that I've always done and will always do, is wash up and pray. There's nothing particular about this part. I'd like to have clean teeth, like to floss and all that kind of stuff. kind of just a nice routine to have. And I go off to prayer. I give my worries to God. I give my days over to Him, so that everything the next day would work in His timing, because there's no point in me worrying about how everything is going to be laid out. There's no use in me like stressing out over my day. So I pray about whatever happened today, and then I pray about whatever is going to happen tomorrow. And then that's it. So to recap, some of the things to avoid doing is check social media, check the emails, eat too late, and don't order an Amazon package expecting to be there at 10 o'clock. And some of the things that you could be doing and working on is setting that alarm an hour before going to sleep. Getting into a routine of journaling about your day, all the issues and everything that's going on, or whatever you have on your mind. Getting ready to wash up and stuff. Get into that nightly prayer. Either listen to some music, some peaceful music to help with sort of some breathing techniques just to calm yourself down, or read a very boring book. So that's it, guys. Thanks for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it. And this week, the thing that I want to recommend is a podcast called Studio Sherpas with Ryan Coral. And by the way, I'm not being sponsored to say this. I just like to share some of the stuff that I listen to, the stuff that I consume. So for this podcast, if you're a videographer looking to build a film business, I would highly recommend this podcast. I've listened to episodes about defining your style, chasing your dreams, setting standards for you and your clients, and strategies to build your business. This channel has really been helping me to get in the mindset of building my business. And even though it's kind of been a slow process, it's still helping me to reach my goals. It's still helping me to put my goals on paper, to really hash out those goals so that I can see them to fruition. Speaking of goals, next week we're going to be talking about how to actually achieve your goals. We're talking about breaking them down into like smaller chunks so that they can be easier to attain. So again, thanks for listening. The song that you're currently listening to was produced by yours truly. You can find it on SoundCloud under Lewis Effect. You can find me on Instagram at _Josh the Creative. If you want to see any of my older YouTube videos, you can search Josh the Creative on YouTube. And if you want any information about my film business, just visit fearlesslionmedia.com. I'll catch y'all next week. Deuces.